Hey guys, our first unit is on autobiographies, biographies, and memoirs. It is really important that you grasp these initial concepts first because as we move forward in the future, they're going to be much more complex. In fact, some of these that we go over at the beginning should probably be a review. If not, I'll make sure that you're paying close attention. If you have any questions, please ask me in class or email me. The first concept, which should be a review, is setting. Now please do not write all of this if you do not need to know all of this. The major thing that we need you to know is that the setting is the time and the place that something takes place. Now, in the setting, a mood is usually established. The mood can change based on what the setting is. If something is taking place at midnight on Friday the 13th, on a rainy night, and on a secluded cabin, our mood is dramatically impacted. In this case, it would most likely be something scary, something eerie, maybe a little off, whereas the setting is completely different and the mood is different if it takes place in, say, a meadow at the beginning of springtime in an afternoon when it's sunny. The setting is going to be the atmosphere which our characters are going to live and move. The next literary term that you need to be very familiar with, especially considering we're going to be using it in almost every unit that we use from here on out, is tone. Tone is the writer's attitude toward the material. Tone is very often confused with mood, which we are going to get to in a little bit. If your parents have ever said, "Don't take that tone with me," it's not so much what you said, but how you said it. You most likely gave attitude. Likewise, that is what a writer's tone is. It is the attitude. Mood. Like I said, this is what is very often confused with tone. Mood is the atmosphere that an author creates with a work of writing, usually with the intention of evoking a certain emotion. All right, so if you've ever read something and you felt scared or anything like that, that is because of the author's mood that he or she is establishing. Mood is usually influenced by the setting, as we went over earlier, although also by the author's voice and tone, as well as the theme of the piece. The major keywords here that I want you to realize is atmosphere and emotion. That is what the author is trying to get you to feel. A simile. This is our first example of figurative language that we're going to be going over this year. A simile is a comparison between two different things, usually using the words like or as. So if you look down at the examples, my dog is as smelly as dirty socks. We have the word as being used. And then here in a little haiku about sharks, eyes like diamonds, cold as ice, teeth like razors. These are all examples of similes. What it is often confused with is metaphors. Metaphors essentially do the same thing. However, they do not use the words like or as. As you can see in the picture down to the left, it shows the difference between similes and metaphors. A metaphor would say you are a weasel without using the words like or as, while a simile would use I'm like a weasel using the word like. Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is something that as you are reading, it's hints or clues that tell you what may happen next. So, in the example, a singular sense of impending calamity that should indeed have served me as a warning drove me onward. The words impending calamity and warning both hint that something bad is going to happen next. These are hints, these are clues. Foreshadowing is often based on word choice, details that the author includes, etc. Also, if you look at the picture on the right, based on the fact that the tire is falling off, that detail, it is foreshadowing, we can guess that something bad is going to happen next. Theme. Theme is a difficult concept for some students to grasp, mainly because it has two different meanings. The first one is easier, however, it's not as important in my opinion. A theme can be a common thread or repeated idea. So for instance, a group of movies that are all funny would have the same theme. They're all comedies. If a story is about football, basketball, and soccer, it has a common theme. They're all about sports. That is the easier definition of theme in order to grasp. The more difficult one that I really want you to focus on is that it is the central idea or the central message that the author wants you to understand. These can be morals. If you've ever read a fable or a fairy tale, there's usually a meaning to the story, the moral to the story. These are ideas of themes. It's what the author wants you to understand based on what he or she is writing. These can be difficult to understand. However, the more practice you have with searching for them, the better luck you will have with finding the theme. Next up is allusion. An allusion is a figure of speech that makes reference to something, a person, a place, an event, literary work, a myth, anything at all. What is important to know about allusions is that it is extremely important that the reader understands and is familiar with the reference that you're making. So for instance, the example on the bottom left, he works faster than the Easter Bunny. This is an allusion to the fact that the Easter Bunny, it would be believed, would have to travel to multiple houses all in the same night. In order to do that, the Easter Bunny would need to be very fast. This allusion would be lost on people who are not familiar with Christianity from a different country or are not familiar with what Easter is. That allusion would not make any sense. Likewise, people who are not sports fans or in popular culture would not get the reference of knowing what Tebowing is or being Tebowed, as the tweet on the bottom right hand corner would suggest. If you don't know who Tebow is or the pose, that allusion does not make any sense to you. Hyperbole. A hyperbole is an exaggerated statement. It is a claim that's not exactly meant to be taken literally. So for instance, if I were to say, I am the greatest teacher that has ever lived, that would most likely be a hyperbole. Not even close. It is an exaggeration. Other examples you see on the right, I'm so tired I could sleep for a year. I'm 20 feet tall this month. I must have walked 100 miles. These are all examples of exaggerations. They are not to be taken literally. Personification. A personification is when you give human characteristics to an animal, an object, or an abstract quality. For example, the picture that's being shown. Frogs do not have the ability to play the guitar. That would be a personification. Other examples, if you look on the left, the sun peeked happily from behind a cloud. The sun does not have an eye or eyes, therefore it cannot see or peek. Trees danced back and forth in the wind. The trees do not have the ability to dance. Because of this, they would be examples of personification. Thank you very much. That is all we're going to be doing for Unit 1. If you have any questions, like I said, please feel free to email me or to see me after class. Thanks, and good luck.